If you are new to this series, we have been going through every single national title claim in college football history for the FBS or highest level at the time it was claimed. At this time, we have covered all of the one-time and two-time champions, and are moving on to the threes and beyond. Please go back and watch those for me after this if you enjoy this sort of thing. From here, some teams will still be lumped together and some will get their own depending on how much of an argument I feel is needed. So, let's get chronic. Prior to the college football playoffs and BCS national title game, we relied only on the polls to determine the college football national champion, with some formulas and short-lived systems in between attempting to better things. The polling system failed many times, with as many as 4 to 6 teams in contention that never even played each other. This often resulted in many split national championship years. Prior to 1965, some polls voted on their national champions before the bowl games were even played, and then saw their champion lose their final game. If you go back a little further, the first attempt to straighten things out came in 1936 with the creation of the AP poll, and was often the most respected poll for many years. But even then, the early media had their biases and favorites due to what they were familiar with. If all the writers and voters only saw Notre Dame or Yale, they would have no way to compare it to what was going on down south or out west, and usually just sided with what they knew. Prior to the AP, we had a wild, lawless 67 years of college football where many or no teams called themselves national champions, and a lot of those teams didn't even claim national titles in this era until more modern polls went back and retroactively named them national champions. Are you confused yet? You should be. While the AP poll is often the benchmark for a champion from 1936 to 1998, I would still argue that point. If the AP named you champion and nobody else did, that smells a bit fishy. Personally, I tend to side with what a majority of the polls say. So if the AP says you are the champ, but 11 others don't, I look deeper into the situation. And that's just me. You are free to do or think whatever you like.
Jerry, just remember, it's not a lie if you believe it.
And of course, I view any titles won through the playoffs or BCS title game as automatically 100% legit from the start of the video, even if you disagree with the selection committee. And yes, I have also disagreed with them plenty of times. On the flip side, any that claim a separate title outside of those official parameters I view as complete bullshit, whether the selection committee screwed said team or not. History is history, and I respect that fact, even if I dislike that fact. For the purposes of this channel, I'm only going by what the school actually claims. I will do a series covering unclaimed titles later on. I have added a layer to my tiers and now broken them down into 5 sections. 100% legit, debatable but fair, I see your argument but no, complete bullshit, and introducing 1941 Alabama, which will be reserved for the most imaginary or dumb claims that exist. In this one, we are still on our 3-time national champions, and I have decided to lump together Lafayette and Clemson. An odd pairing, you might think, and you might be right. Clemson has had a lot of success recently and covers things you already likely saw firsthand if you happen to be over the age of, say, 20. Lafayette is more of a history lesson, but let's be real, you likely wouldn't watch a video of them alone. So bam, I lumped them together to make a mashup of old meets new, and suddenly we have a beautiful partnership and enough material to actually make a video long enough for YouTube to appreciate. And just looking ahead, this may be the last time teams share a video in this series, as we are moving on to the 4 claim teams soon. Time to go cat hunting. Welcome to the jungle, and let's get chronic. For no particular reason, let's start with Lafayette. And just a heads up, if I ever say Lafayette, it's because there's a town near my hometown named Lafayette, and it's spelled the exact same way. So anyway, here we go. The Leopards are one of the oldest programs in college football history, having first fielded a team in 1882, and most notably, their rivalry with Lehigh is the most played in college football history with 161 meetings at the time of this recording. Well, maybe most notably is that Lafayette claims 3 early national titles to their name, and here they are. The first claim to fame these cool cats and kittens have,
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens,
is that of 1896. The 27th season of college football, and one in which 30 schools had a team. This schedule is a fun one. They beat the Volunteer Athletic Club of New York City 44-0, then tied Princeton 0-0. Following those 2 games, Lafayette beat West Virginia 3 times in 3 days. A 3-game winning streak over the same team in the same week, and the Leopards shut them out in every game. And yes, I looked. This sort of thing had happened a couple times before, but not since. The team finished out the rest of the season undefeated to finish 11-0-1, and 9 of those wins, and the tie of course, were shutouts. And remember, from my other videos, shutting out everyone and winning a lot of games didn't necessarily make you a generational team, as it was common in this era for several teams to do the same thing. Anyways, retroactively, the team was named co-national champions by the National Championship Foundation and Park H. Davis. Big note to add here, that second selector coached this team. There was one other team that claimed a title this season, and they had more selectors, but they were Princeton, the one tie on Lafayette's schedule. Princeton likely got some love for playing a tougher schedule, but we had the head-to-head matchup and had a tie, so we have only two teams claiming the national title, and they're both equal, which puts them both, at least, legit in some form. I see 1896 Lafayette as 100% legit, but split. That's really the only way it can be seen, I suppose. There were around 11 other undefeated teams, but oh well, moving on. We jump ahead to 1921, where we are going to have to revisit a lot in this series. The Leopards went 9-0 with 5 shutouts, and hey, everyone they played were actually a college team this time around. The team was named co-national champions by the Bohan system and again the former coach Davis. Here's the thing, 4 other schools were named national champions by selectors and 3 of them claim it, those being Cal, Cornell, and Iowa. Cal went 9-0-1 with the tie being Washington and Jefferson, who is the one team not claiming this season. Cornell went a perfect 8-0 and Iowa a perfect 7-0. While I don't want to give much away on the other teams until their videos, I'll vaguely say that each of the 3 undefeated teams in question played equally tough schedules for the time, but they just never ran into each other. I view one of these teams above the rest, but that doesn't take away the legitimacy of anyone else among the undefeated based on the research I found. 1921 is going in the 100% legit tier, and spoiler alert, they won't be alone. I hate when that happens. Finally, we have the most recent claim, and by recent, they will be celebrating the 100th anniversary by the time this comes out. The 1926 team went a perfect 9-0, shutting out 5 teams along the way. They were named national champions only by Davis. Can't say the guy wasn't loyal. In 1926, 3 other teams claimed a title, and I have already covered 2 of them, calling Navy debatable but fair, and Stanford the same. Please go check out those videos after this. But the short of it was, there was at least some doubt due to both teams having a season-ending tie to strong teams, though Stanford's came in the Rose Bowl, so it's hard to hold that against them. Strength of schedule was hard to gauge at this time, and that Rose Bowl tie and Navy makes things murky enough as is. I can't justify putting Lafayette at 100% when their only selector was their former coach, and I can't drop them much lower because the info is just too speculative. These cats belong in the debatable but fair category alongside Navy and Stanford. Now for Clemson, these aren't really going to be fun for the sake of the argument side of this series, but I committed to covering every team, so let's run through them. Fans can have a quick nostalgia trip, and enemies can poke some holes if they can find any. The 1981 Clemson team under 4th-year head coach Danny Ford just had to witness their rivals Georgia win it all the previous season, so they responded. The Tigers went undefeated through the regular season with key wins over defending champs number 4 Georgia 13-3 and number 8 North Carolina 10-8. They also had a wild 82-24 win over Wake Forest. Entering the postseason, Clemson was ranked number 1 and matched up with number 4 Nebraska in the Orange Bowl. Clemson held a 22-7 lead into the 4th quarter and looked to have it in hand, but Nebraska came back, but too little too late as Clemson won 22-15 to finish 12-0 and consensus national champions. They are 100% legit, and only SMU with a loss and a final ranking of 5th on probation try to challenge this. But that challenge was baseless. You can check out the SMU video as well on the playlist, please do that for me. In the 2010s, Dabo Swinney brought Clemson to a powerhouse level for a while, even if a lot of that seems to be fading in recent times. In 2016, the Tigers actually did stumble after starting 9-0 with big wins over number 3 Louisville and number 12 Florida State. They dropped Game 10, 43-42 against Pitt, who went on to finish an average 8-5. The loss dropped the squad from 2 to only number 4. The Tigers punched a ticket to the college football playoffs, their second of 6 straight after beating number 23 Virginia Tech 42-35 in the ACC championship game. In the first round, Clemson blasted number 3 Ohio State 31-0 and then outlasted number 1 Alabama in the national championship game on that last-second 2-yard touchdown throw from Deshaun Watson to the immortal Hunter Renfrow. The team finished 14-1 and is obviously 100% legit. After losing to Alabama in the national title the following year, the 2008 team set out to be the best in program history, and this team was loaded from the start. 6 players won individual awards, 7 were All-Americans by the end of the season. Hell, Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne currently lead the Jacksonville Jaguars offense as of this writing. The team ran through the regular season with key wins over Texas A&M 28-26, number 16 North Carolina State 41-7, and number 17 Boston College 27-7. Not exactly the toughest schedule in the world, I know. They defeated unranked Pitt 42-10 in the ACC Championship to lock up the number 2 seed in the college football playoffs, as Alabama had the number 1 seed with the same record and a much tougher schedule. In the first round, the Tigers took out number 3 Notre Dame 30-3 and set up a third championship game with Alabama in 4 years. Most of us expected a classic all-time game, but instead, Clemson ran away with it 44-16, and in doing so gave Bama their worst loss of the Saban era, and at 15-0 became the first in major college football to achieve that record since 1897 Penn. This team is also, obviously, 100% legit. In 2025, the team fell into a bit of a hole after starting the year so high. Let me know in the comments if they'll be back. I personally can't see them staying down too long. And for that matter, let me know if Lafayette will ever do anything again. The data says no, they will not, as they have never even won an FCS playoff game in 5 tries. And there we go. If you feel I was unfair or missed a piece of info, go ahead and make your case in the comments. And remember, this is just one guy on YouTube who did some research and gave an opinion. I'm sure I won't change any fanbase's opinion on the titles they choose to boast about, and certain fanbases have made that pretty clear thus far. This has been College Football Chronicles, and I hope you join me next time.